Thank you all for coming. And we are all looking forward to this teach-in and to hear from international students, international graduates, activists, and all of you. And hopefully we'll have a really good discussion. Even though we are on lands that are subject to the treaties, it is notable that matters of migrants coming, going, and staying are decided by one side of the treaty only, that is the settler colonial state. Something to think about. About 200,000 former international students now holding postgraduate work permits which allow them to work in Canada for specified periods of time are now facing deportation because the government has suddenly changed its policies, specifically the two-step pathway to permanent residency which it had provided over the last 2 decades. In fact, in 2021, during the pandemic, government announced that permanent residency would be opened up for 90,000 essential workers and international graduates who were in essential services such as in the healthcare sector and long-term care. They of course had to have completed 1 year of Canadian experience, work experience. This was part of the pandemic recovery program. So these postgraduate work permit holders who were patiently collecting work hours, sometimes in very exploitative conditions, and preparing to apply for permanent residency, have now been cut short in their pathway to permanent residency application. Even though Canada had energetically welcomed international students during the pandemic, the largest source being from India, it has now suddenly imposed a cap on the numbers of international students, on migrant workers, and even on skilled immigrants. And all this has happened in the context of virulent racist scapegoating of migrants, including international students. All of a sudden, international students and graduates have changed from the solution to the problem of all of Canada's problems. The housing crisis, the affordability crisis, and so on. Cost of living requirements for international students has also doubled, which means they have to bring double the amount of money with them. In addition, it has been announced that post-graduation work permits will be eliminated for those graduating from collaborative private-public colleges, which is where many international students study. Many other systemic obstacles have been put in their way, the details of which we will hear today from the panelists and from activists and international students and international graduates also. Members of the Naujawan Support Network, or NSN, have been encamped in Brampton for the last 2.5 months in protest of the whole situation. And we are very fortunate and excited to have with us members of the encampment team and members of Naujawan Support Network who will be speaking to us and will provide more details about the general information that I have mentioned. Some of us may ask, why don't they go back? They have graduated, why don't they go back to their countries where they're from? And I've had the occasion to engage a few students, with asking them that very question. If graduates of colleges and postgraduate work permit holders return to their home countries or are deported, they will be returning with huge debts. And not to mention the stigma of returning in such an undignified way. Moreover, many have been here for several years, and they have developed a sense of belonging here. They have developed friends, and so it would be very difficult for them to return, just like that. So before I pass you on to the next segment, I'd like to give some thanks to our co-sponsors of this event, York Graduate Students Association, York Center for Asian Research, Canadian Union of Public Employees 3903, York University Faculty Association, Sikh Student Association, and first generation immigrant students. I also want to particularly recognize and thank, and I'd like a big round of applause for the person behind this entire event, without whom we wouldn't all be here today, Rajdeep Sidhu. He's the one who has done all the coordination and everything, but he remains in the background. Rajdeep is a PhD candidate in the sociology department at York University. And thank you all for coming once again. And also to those, I believe there are a few who have joined us on Zoom.